Morning, back again. Trying to get the front end back together today. You'll have to excuse me, hay fever's giving me a bit of jip. I've been sneezing my head off for the last 10 minutes. Last few days has been quite bad for it. But now the wax is dried and it's not quite as hot. It's still really warm, but not direct sunlight, so it's a bit better. I'm going to try and get the wing back on, reshape the inner wing where it joins, because the original ones have been changed about a bit. And then once that one's on, it's this side come off. Not looking forward to that. There's a lot of wiring and there's no multi-plugs, so each is an individual wire. So you have to take loads of photographs, make sure you get the right ones. But because of the length of time it's going to take, I'll put it on time lapse and we'll go from there. Hopefully it's actually going to turn out alright, but we'll see. Most of the ones I've so far. And like and subscribe. I keep not saying that, but apparently that's what everybody needs to do to make the channel grow, because my viewings dropped right down. I didn't post for 2 weeks and it went from 470 to 30 in a day. That was literally the drop, and it hasn't recovered. So I'm trying to be more consistent putting videos out. So sometimes they're not be quite as much of a difference, because work all week, 60 hours or so, try and get this done at weekends. But we'll see anyway. I'll go to time lapse now. That's that one on. Just lined it all up. Sealed the seam so that rust can get through between the gap and everything, but it's all, so I'll show you. It's all getting there. There we are. A lot better than it was. The rubber strips on for the back to just sit on. Sealed that gap there just because it's where the water will collect. So it'll run off the edges now rather than to the joint. So it's a slightly different colour, you can see it on there, but it'll be easier to paint just the wings rather than repair all the wheel arch repair work and sort that out with prepping and painting. However, the amount of work going into changing them, it may well have been easier just to sort these out. I don't know, never mind. But no, it's all a lot better. One thing I've noticed is this gap here on the other car, presumably because the chassis was so crusty, that was nearly touching. This was a lot closer. I mean, the engine mounts hadn't collapsed particularly, and the gap was far smaller on the other car. So whether the engine sat, sorry, the body wasn't sat quite square on the chassis or what, I don't know. But no, that's alright, it fits okay. We'll see how I get on with paint. If it doesn't clean up, it's aged, I've not polished that one yet, and it's a slightly different colour. But it's easy enough to rattle can that, match it up with the original paint, because I can take a piece of the old one in and get it colour matched. This side, start taking those wiring out. I'll take loads of photographs first and then start cleaning up. I'm going to polish a bulkhead up when it's done, because it's just easier to get out when it's in bits. And that'll do for today, I reckon. If I can get this wing off and get the other one back on, depends if that welding the bottom corner needs doing again. And it's getting warm again. I mean, that's just ridiculous. No sun, but it's just getting humid. It was 25 degrees when I came out. I didn't feel it, so there was a slight breeze, but that seems to have dropped now. But if this side isn't crusty underneath, because it's that wheel arch, sorry, that panel there I took off, and where it's double skinned onto it, that's where it had rusted through on the other side. Now if this hasn't, because the rest of it's actually okay, if this hasn't done that, I'll be able to get it back together fairly quickly and get the interior back in, or at least the front half anyway. Leave the back half out until I've done the last bit of welding under the back corners. There's a show on the 2nd of July in Stamford. Festival of the Dead car brands. I wouldn't mind taking it there. It's an hour and a half drive or so. It'll be a good run out because I've not driven it yet. It's been a typical thing. Give myself a deadline, get things finished, and then drive them to the other side of the country. And that's the test drive for it. It usually works out okay. Not really had any problems doing that, but you never know. There's always the time that you missed something, or something that you didn't work on fails. But you can get the front end back in today. I mean, the back half's immaculate, really, considering what the other car was like. This is ridiculous. I'll treat them bits of rust in the corners first, and then we'll get on with a bit more work. So I'll sort it out and do a bit more. Cheers. Why do I say cheers all the time? I'll sort it out and do a bit more. Just removing the insulation on this side to get to the fantastic nuts and bolts, because that's what holds it in. And as I move the insulation, out fell a spanner. So if you're the guy that built this back in 1990, give us a shout. I've got your 10 and 8mm spanner. Must have dropped it down the back of the insulation when you built it. But I'll keep that for now for you. I'll keep it safe. Right, that's the other side off. As it was the same as the first one in the other video, I thought no point in filming it. Just much the same. This side actually came off a little bit easier. It's also got the same issue where the mud flat bracket, no, that way around, mud flat bracket sits. So that hole there lines up with that hole there. So basically metal close together, traps moisture and then does that. So I've got the same thing to do this side, not as bad. Little tiny bit here as well, but all this is still good. This side, I'll just give it a quick scuff over. It's rock solid. I mean, infinitely better than the other car. Bit of sealant needed in these, just run it up there. But it's all good. I'll get it cleaned up and get some paint on it. Hopefully it'll try and get the wing back on today. But it depends. It keeps raining as well. It's not supposed to rain, but it keeps sort of 5-10 minute showers here and there. Yeah, the wiring pain in the backside. I'll unscrew everything that was here and feed it up through there. But like I said before, everything feeds through underneath the bottle bracket. So you've got to take it all the way off, right from over here, feed it all the way through, pull it all out, take photographs of each and every one, because they're not multi-plugs like modern cars. They're all just spade connectors, ring connectors. And if you pull a load of these off, you've had it, because although there is wiring diagrams for them, it's all in German. I don't speak German. You can look up colours, I suppose, but it's easier to just take loads of photographs and videos and you can just watch it and see where everything goes back. But I'll get some more work done on it in between the showers. Hopefully be back and get a bit more progress on it. Well, we've had some good things and bad things. Got the bulkhead and everything cleaned up. All this area here, paintwork's good, no rust in it. It's got the exact same spot down the bottom as I mentioned earlier that needs welding. However, I ended up with, let's have a look over here, a couple of other. I changed the discs, which basically undo that, take the caliper off and give them a thump and they just come off. They're on a taper with the hub and everything, and then you tighten it all back up. Well, I tightened it all up, and then this nut, by myself being an idiot, it really annoyed me. I managed to strip the threads, and these drive shafts are particularly difficult, if not impossible, to get hold of. I have got spare ones from the other car, but they're not as good, so I can repair it. It was just a moment of infuriation. Also, it had adjustable front shocks on polybush front shocks. Don't know what make they are, no markings. But I noticed it's pouring oil out around the adjuster knob. And I adjusted, I turned it, and it just started running out. So I've had to go back to standard IFA ones that came off the other car. So again, the parts car is helping massively. It's an absolute tip around here. Clutter everywhere. But yeah, it's a bit of a knockback, but more annoying than anything because it didn't strip. I stripped it. I wound it too tight. Just trying to get the next hole for the split pin, but never mind. It was all working fine. And the other side of things, the discs on the other car were like new, so they're getting changed. A little bit surface, you don't want that view. A little bit of surface rust on them, but compared to those ones, have got quite a big score around them there, and there's a big dip in the middle. They're a bit manky on the back, but they would have been fine. I wouldn't have bothered changing them had I not got a pair that are basically that were brand new very recently, mileage wise. So right, I'm going to call it a day. I've had enough today. Been out here all day now, so I shall put this together, hopefully get it out tonight. I'm trying to keep a bit of routine, get one out each weekend. As I said, it's a few numbers have dropped right off just because of the couple of weeks where I didn't post anything. I think nearly 2.5, nearly 3 weeks. But that's how YouTube and everything works, isn't it? So right, I shall put this together and I'll see you in the next one, which will hopefully be a bit more success. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Like and subscribe, all the usual stuff. Ta.